Yep, I'm here, man. How you guys doing?
I'm great. Welcome to Zutes Boxing Talk, buddy. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling pretty well, man. I was actually taking me a little rest, man, getting ready for this weigh-in tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to ask. One of my first questions was, how'd you handle this Thanksgiving? I mean, the probably not a good idea to schedule a fight so close to Thanksgiving. Were you able to lay off the food?
Most definitely, man. I'm able to lay off of it, man. This is my favorite holiday, man. I mean, the turkey and just the stuffing and all the food, man. This guy has to pay. He has to pay.
Well, you have a fight coming up Saturday. It's a big fight in Cincinnati, Ohio. Canelo Alvarez and Carmen Cintron are leading it. Your opponent is Alberto Ruiz. What can you tell him? What can you tell us about him?
He's he's a tough fighter. You know, he has over 45 fights. He has 30 knockouts. You know, that many knockouts is considered, you know, a dangerous fighter. You know, so we take nothing from him. We come in very prepared. You know, we watch tapes on him. We watch his footage. He's a little slow on his feet. So we're just going to take advantage of his weaknesses.
Now, there's an interesting side story to this fight, Gary. This was not your original opponent, and you got word at a very short date that your opponent had to be switched. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, my goodness, it was ridiculous. We supposed to have originally been fighting the guy that win, and we scheduled our entire camp around this guy that. You know, that is about the same height. Straightforward fighter, man. A constant pressure. He likes to work the body. And we just scheduled our entire training camp around that. And a week before the fight, they said that pulls out. So basically, our entire training camp was just completely worthless. You know, of course, I'm in great shape because I'm ready to go to 10-round fight. But we really didn't get worried. My amateur pedigree, I suppose, was going to take us over the top. Fighting in the major tournaments as an amateur, you wouldn't know what style of fight you were going to get from day to day. You know, and I think that's what's going to help me out it's going to help me out come Saturday.
Now, I mean, when you get that news, I mean, obviously it's a big blow. You know, you have all the confidence in the world. We know that, but what's the harder adjustment? Physically matching up against the guy that's physically different, or mentally trying to prepare? I'm one of those guys. I got to know everything ahead of time because I got to prepare mentally. Which one is tougher for you?
Exactly. This the mental preparation. I have to break myself down mentally. You know, getting ready for, like I say, the guy that win. I was mentally programmed on certain shots that I knew were going to be there. You know, certain weaknesses that we've seen in the guy, certain shots that we're going to be throwing in ways we're going to be countering our punches. I had to mentally break myself down and cram it all in within a week's time with this guy, Luis. So we're going to see how it goes, man. I don't still feel confident. You know, God is always on my side, so I'm 100% ready.
Now, you're fighting in your hometown, correct?
No, actually, I'm from Washington, D.C. I did a lot of fighting in Ohio, though.
Oh, okay. I knew you had some kind of a link to Ohio, so forget about having the pressure of fighting in your own hometown. That doesn't exist. So let's back up a little bit and talk a little bit about your amateur career. You're one of the few American fighters now that had a pretty damn good amateur career. So talk about it a little bit.
Oh, man, I was blessed. I was 2005 Athlete of the Year, bronze medalist. I won just about every tournament that there was to win as an amateur. The Golden Gloves from the U.S. Championships, the Under-19, the PAL tournament. I won just about everything it is for an amateur to win. I think the biggest accomplishment as far as being an amateur was me making an Olympic team.
Now, give us the big differences. I mean, we obviously know with amateurs, it's about landing shots, not so much about the power. How big of an adjustment was it for you with the transition, and explain what the toughest part of this transition is?
Man, I feel as though amateur boxing takes away from the original creativity of the fighter. When you fight, they use this computer scoring, this system, and you have to land. The glove has to land a certain way. It has to be 100% flush shot. And it's weird. It takes away from the creativity of the fighter. Being a professional, you kind of get the chance to sit back, pick your shots a little more, kind of get used to the lighter gloves. You kind of get used to the light gloves without the headgear. I love it, man. I love it. I love the professional game. I also have to like the amateurs because it definitely prepared me for the professionals. But man, the professionals are so much better than me.
Yeah, it seems like a very weird transition to me because everything that speaks of professional boxing is hurting your opponent. The guys who get the big knockouts and the stoppages are the ones that get the TV fights. They get the money, and that like does, especially now, that doesn't really come into play in amateur boxing. Kind of strange to me.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Honestly, you never really see too many knockouts in amateur boxing, even coming from the guys that turned professional and became these great knockout artists. You never really got that in amateurs. You never really seen a lot of knockouts in tournaments, even the major tournaments. Where it's the best of the best, the elite guys, you would think you would see more knockouts. But the way that amateur boxing is created as far as this computer scoring and stuff, like I say, it takes away from that. It takes away from a guy wanting to sit down on his shots. We have to be more focused on making sure we land a certain amount of points or land more points than our opponent. So, like I say, it completely takes away from the full creativity of the fighter.
All right, so, I mean, you seem to transition nicely. 18 wins, 10 KOs. You turned pro in 2009. In Tulsa, Oklahoma. I mean, I don't relate that to being a big boxing foundation. How did that fight turn about?
Actually, when I signed professional, I signed with my manager Al Heyman. I got a chance to watch how he moved all of his fighters. As far as more recently, Floyd Mayweather Jr. He had Floyd. He had a lot of other guys, Andre Berto, and I'm watching how he just moved their career, and we were basically just taking the same steps. That's just where he chose for us to start off at, and I'm blessed and grateful to have him in our life.
Well, it certainly works out well for you, and it's working out beautifully for you, Gary. Now, you're a young guy, 23 years old, and you have a big hype. You're an American fighter who is being billed as the goods. Not really commonplace in today's boxing world. How does a young guy like you handle that? Is there a lot of pressure?
Oh, man, no. Honestly, my dad always told me pressures make diamonds. He said pressure makes diamonds. Realistically, I really try not to focus on what everyone speaks on as far as me being just a good fighter or a great fighter. Honestly, I have so many different types of magazines and newspaper articles and clippings that people wrote about me that I have never read. I refuse to read it until my career is over.
Well, that's great. That's a good head on your shoulders. I hate to say it, but maybe a rare thing in today's young world of athletes. They want to be on ESPN and they want to post it all over the place. So I like that. And you mentioned your father. Talk about your relationship with your dad a little bit.
Yes, man. I love the relationship with my dad, man. I tell him all the time he's my favorite superhero. A lot of guys ask me, well, how do you feel about the father-son relationship in coaching? Sometimes it doesn't work. You've seen it with Roy. You've seen it with Floyd. You've seen it with a couple of other guys in the boxing business. How do you feel as though you guys going to go around that or avoid it? And my answer to them is I really have a strong relationship with my dad outside of boxing. When boxing is over and done with, he's still going to be my dad, regardless how things work out. That's still going to be my dad. Our relationship, man, is wonderful, man. Like he's my best friend. Besides my wife, You know, besides my wife, my dad is, you know, my next best friend, man. And I think everything that we work on, man, I'm 100% grateful for. I feel as though we have growth within each other. I don't think that he's stagnant in teaching me or getting me to the next level. I feel as though we still have much more room to grow.
Now, he's your corner man, correct?
That's exactly.
And he, as far as I know, hasn't trained a boxer before. Is that correct?
He trained a couple boxers that really never really was on the circuit like that, though.
Yeah, and you mentioned the pressure of a father-son trainer situation, and you seem to have a great relationship with him, and that might be a little different from the other situations, and that's also a good plus for you. But one thing that people might not know about Gary Russell Jr. and his family is, you know, the sibling attachment. Give us a little bit about that.
Yeah, man, it's 6 boys. 6 boys. Mom and dad been married for about 27 years now. So we're very family oriented, man. It's ridiculous. Like oh my goodness, I'm on pins and needles that I'm in Cincinnati on Thanksgiving. I was not around my family, my loved ones. This guy has to pay for this. Man, every last one of my little brothers box. You know, they're actually pretty good. I have one brother that's 21 years old. He made it all the way to the Olympic trials in 2007. I have another younger brother that's 18, and he won a couple national tournaments. I have one that's 15. Honestly, I think he's going to be better than all of us. It's ridiculous how good my little brother is.
Now, tell us the fans of Zutes Boxing, talking to everybody who might not know what his name is.
His name is actually every last one of my brothers is named Gary. Everyone. I'm the only one that goes by Gary. Everyone else goes by their middle name. The one that is 21, his middle name is Alan. The one that's 18, he's Antonio. The one that I'm telling you about, his name is Antoine.
But originally they were all named Gary.
Originally they are all named Gary.
The George Foreman syndrome, if you will.
Man, I don't know.
Now, what was going on with your parents? Some people might say that, you know, that's high loyalty to the name, or might be a lack of creativity. Which one is it?
Creativity, exactly. I have no idea. To this day, I cannot answer that question. I can't answer that question. That's something I have to ask them. You know, I briefly heard them talk about Fish. If it was a boy, then my dad would get to name him, and if it was a girl, then my mom would get the name. And unfortunately, he came out with 6 boys, and we all was named Gary. So, it could, like you say, it could definitely come from lack of creativity or, you know, something else. I really don't know.
Well, there's certainly no lack of creativity with you and your brothers when it comes to boxing. Now, you're saying one